I mean, everybody, everybody that listens in regularly knows I've had my moments with Stu Skinner. But like, look, one game, it was a tough game for him. It wasn't his great game. Wasn't all his fault. But does this team need a different goalie to get to the next level?
No, and as much as I hate to agree with Dash on a lot of points, the one thing that I think he's right about is that Skinner tends to play to the level of the team in front of him. And like, yeah, an elite number one goaltender is gonna steal a couple of those games for you when your team isn't playing their best. But if the Oilers play well in front of him, Skinner's fantastic. Like there was a 5 game stretch where he was at 947, right? Like that's
Yeah.
an insane save percentage for a 5 game stretch. It's a small sample size over the course of a season, but like 947, that's pretty good. But yeah, if he plays or if the Oilers play like they did in front of him on Monday night, then you get the opposite version, which is below league average and not good enough to steal you games, which sucks. But the Oilers are good enough where they're not going to lay that many eggs. Like they're not going to lay eggs that often.
Yeah, well,
So
and here, look at the way I kind of think of it too is, I mean, all these folks that would be out there, they're saying like, look, like we need somebody other than Stuart Skinner. Like they're looking at this in like the context of one game, right? Like Stuart Skinner's been great, as you said, 947 over a stretch of 5 games. And he does. He goes like any goalie goes on hot and cold streaks. But then like, look, what are they going to say? Well, we need Gustafson. We need Fleury. We need Aiden Hill. We need Bobrovsky. Well, I got news for you. The Oilers scored 18 goals on those goaltenders, and, and like, I don't think Minnesota fans are saying like let's toss the goalies on this team because Gustafson and Fleury have been awesome this year, right? Aiden Hill, as you know, always shuts out the Oilers. And he's been doing, he's been good. But the Oilers managed to score past these guys that are would be the savior for an Oilers team that wants to go the extra level. And I think folks forget like we made it to Game 7 with Stuart Skinner. Like we got as far as you could possibly go and didn't get like totally washed out in game 7 or anything. It wasn't like a 7-1 drubbing, right? Like,
2-1 game
yeah,
where Kulak kind of screened him on the game winner, right?
yeah.
Like
I mean, that's like, look, we don't need a rebuild. We had a bad game in 8-2 stretch, right? Like 8-2 stretch. It's a bad game. We were gonna have Jeff Aid on the show tonight. Sorry, Jeff, we didn't get you on. But look, the Sabres are gone through. They're on an 11 game. I feel bad for Sabres fans. I mean, this is a tough one, but they're in an 11 game stretch, and like go into a room full of Oilers fans and go into a room full of Sabres fans, and they're both at the same level of uh, like anger right now. And yet, both teams couldn't be on a further trajectory, right?
yeah,
It
and
is
like you
crazy.
look
It's
at
a little bit
Ukko-Pekka
of an
Luukkonen,
overshoot right now if you're upset about the Florida game.
right? And like you look at the goaltender that the Sabres have, like Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is one of the best young goaltenders in the game. He had an amazing season last season. Around this time of year is when he started to really turn it up last season, right? So like it just goes to show like it's not all on one player and their young goaltenders are going to have inconsistent stretches. It's going to happen. Even the best ones in the world have inconsistent stretches. Like Bobrovsky, I did a piece last year where I went through all of Bobrovsky's games. There were times where he went 3, 4, 5 games in a row with having
Oh
poor outings and then had to bounce back. Right? Vasilevsky, he's been swept in the playoffs before. It happens.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think what fans need to take from this, right, is the Oilers were in against 3 top teams. They came out of that 2-1. The one game they did lose was by a goal, right? Um, You know, and it was a shootout, right? It was sloppy on both sides, as you say. And man, they had some good chances to tie that up. Like that game could have easily been a 7-6 Oilers game at the end of it all. So,
Oh yeah.
I mean, sometimes that's how games go, right? They're just high flying. You talk about it like the coaches hate it, but that's just how, a game like the flow of the game goes is the defense are in on it, all right? The defense are in on it. Everybody's going. It just happens to be one of those games where neither side can defensively get the game going.
Well,
And
let's look at it from the other
yeah,
perspective too. Like Sergei Bobrovsky let in a couple of goals that he probably wants back. Like that Kapanen goal, that
yeah,
was an ugly one, right? You think he doesn't
very.
want that Connor Brown shot back from like Draisaitl's office, but on the opposite side of the ice? And oh yeah, Leon scored at that sharp angle from the opposite side too. So like, there's three right there that Bobrovsky probably wants back.
Absolutely. 100%. I just all of this to say is like, look, you know, we got to take it a little bit easy right now. The Oilers are on a heater. I don't care that they lost 6-5. These guys are on a heater. Like 18 goals in 3 games in the NHL. Like, tell me
And the
that's
puck's
not.
going in for him now.
Yeah, puck's going in. PDO is going the right way. Everything's just going. Everything is coming up aces. Skinner's going to have the game back. I've actually look. I wouldn't have said this at the beginning of the season, but I like the way the defense is playing. They're going to have lapses in a game. A game is 3 periods for a reason, right? Like it's there's a flow of the game. That Vegas game, take out the second period and it's a whole different game, right? Like that's all Oilers, right? So it just that's the flow.